So this is my very first meal prep series video. This meal prep series video is going to be about freezer meals. So I'll do some others about different topics, but this one is about freezer meals. So first, I have some of my freezer meals here to show you. So I like to have freezer meals ready to go for different purposes, right? So maybe it's just we're super busy and it's nice to have a freezer meal. I'm about to have a baby, so obviously it's nice to have a freezer meal when you have a situation like that. Sometimes it's nice to just have things prepared if you have unexpected people come to visit or whatever your situation might be. So these are my freezer meals. I'm going to tell you what they are, and I am going to provide you these recipes, but I have different recipes that I'm going to provide already, right, that I have prepared for you. So these recipes, I have honey lime enchiladas, meatballs, so meatball parmesan, and lasagna. And these containers are really nice because you can label them with a dry erase marker. So I actually just have a piece of tape with the label on it, like what's in there, but you can do either. And then I have chili, I have buffalo chicken soup, and I have queso chicken soup. And then these I usually use for things that are not meals. So for example, maybe berries so that I can easily make smoothies in the morning, or like a pound of meat will fit in these so that I can do, like buy my meat at Costco and separate it into individual 1 pound segments so then I can take it out and use it to make a meal whenever I need to. So this is what I currently have in my freezer. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some tips on freezer meals. So for mine, like for example, I have honey lime enchiladas and meatball parmesan. Both require a sauce to go with them. My recommendation is to not freeze it with the sauce. So for like the honey lime enchiladas, it's just the tortilla and all the deliciousness wrapped up inside of it. When I want to eat it, I'm going to thaw this and then I'll put it into a pan and cover it with the sauce and put it in the oven. All right, same thing with the meatball parmesan, right? That one's super easy. It's just a marinara sauce from a can. So I just take that, put it into a 9x13 to put it in the oven and then cover it with the sauce, cover it with some cheese, and we're good to go. So I recommend not freezing with sauce. It'll taste better if you do it the way that I just explained. And okay, a great way to make freezer meals is just to double whatever you're making for dinner. Okay, so if you're making chili, double it, right? Eat half of it for dinner, and then half of it you can put in a freezer meal container and put it in your freezer, ready to go for next time. So that's an easy way to kind of start your freezer meal prep. Now, when I first started doing freezer meals, I went online and I found all of these recommendations like, oh, here's 10 freezer meals, here's 5 freezer meals, whatever. So I made them, and then when we thawed them, they weren't actually that good. So now what I do is I make recipes that we like, that we have made before, that we've eaten, that we know that we like, and that's what I recommend. I'll provide you with some recipes to help you get started and maybe try some new things, but of course, if it's not something that you think your family would like, don't make it, because regardless, when you thaw it, you're not going to like it. So that's my recommendation, is to use recipes that you already know that you like. So here's some tips if you're taking a recipe that you already know you like. Here's some tips on the ingredients in that recipe and how to make that recipe taste good. Okay, so noodles. So if you're doing like a noodle casserole type dish, right? You can either not cook the noodles at all or cook them al dente, right? Just cook them a little bit. So you don't want to cook them till they're 100% done because they're going to get soggy in the freezer, and then you're going to cook them again when they come out of the freezer, and then you're going to have super soggy noodles, which is not good. So that's my recommendation for any noodle dishes. For potatoes, first of all, red potatoes are probably going to hold up the best. Russet potatoes you can use too, but if you're going to do potatoes in a dish, you need to cook them and then include them in your dish. So if you do raw potato and just put it in the freezer, it's going to turn black and gross and disgusting. Okay, you don't want to do that. So cook it, right? Maybe boil the potatoes, whatever you want to do, and then you can freeze it. All right, so make sure it cools first. Cook it, cool it, make sure it's cooled, and then you can put it in your dish, whatever you're making. For freezer, vegetables, especially for hard vegetables. So things like broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, you want to blanch them first. Okay, so blanching is the process of putting it in hot water, whatever that hot water, like boiling water, and then only cooking it for, let's say, an hour, not an hour, a minute. Sorry guys, just for like a minute. And then put it into ice cold water. Okay, so from really hot, throw it into ice cold water. It's called like an ice bath or a water bath because you want to stop the cooking process. You don't want your vegetables to keep cooking after they've come out of that water the hot water because you want them to cook when you actually take it out of the freezer, right? But what you're doing is you're helping to keep them crispier, right? More like a vegetable would be right out of the refrigerator. And you're retaining the nutrients, all right, that are in that vegetable. So when it comes out of the freezer, it's healthier for you, just like it was fresh and you hadn't frozen it. Flash freezing, all right? This is your next tip. So this is for things like berries is what I use it for mostly, but it's good for mushrooms, maybe sliced up bell peppers, things that if you were to put them in a container and put it in the freezer right away, they would all stick together and bunch up, and then you'd want to take them out to use some, and you get like the entire bag, right, of blueberries or whatever. So what you do instead is you take a cookie sheet, we're gonna use blueberries. You put all your blueberries out and you separate them so they're all individual, right? They're not like bunched up in a huge big clump, right? It's one layer. And then you freeze that. And then when those blueberries are frozen, you take them out. Now you can take them, put them into a big bunch, and put them into a container. So by freezing them individually first, then you can put them into a container and freeze them kind of in a big bunch, and they won't stick together. And that's called flash freezing. So that's a great tip for those types of things as well. Now, oh yes, so you also, I recommend thawing your food before you bake it. It will make it taste better, okay? So I could, of course, take the enchiladas out of this container, throw them in a pan and bake it, but it won't taste as good, okay? So I usually take them out and I thaw them before, and then I bake them. So I just kind of plan ahead, oh, we're gonna need a freezer meal tonight or tomorrow or whatever your schedule might be, and then you can kind of take it out and let it thaw. Now think about what your hardest meal of the day is. Maybe your hardest meal is dinner because everyone's running around, people have soccer practice or play practice or whatever, and it's hard to get a good meal in. Maybe your hardest meal is breakfast because no one wants to get out of bed and then you're rushing off to school or work or wherever. So those are some of the meals that I would recommend trying to do a freezer meal for, because then you can just pop something in the oven or throw like a breakfast burrito in the microwave and have something good that'll help you feel good. Okay, so once you've done all this work, you've prepared your freezer meals, you've purchased the food for your freezer meal, you took the time to prepare your freezer meal, now it's in the freezer, all right? When you take it out, you want to make sure that it is a good meal, right? So like I said, when I first started, my freezer meals that I first did, they weren't very good. It was a pretty big disappointment. And then it's a waste of my time and it was a waste of my money. So I highly recommend these containers because they will help keep your food fresh and keep it tasting good. So this is what I use. These are called Freezer Mates. They come in a bunch of different sizes. This is great for casseroles. It's like your 9 by 13 inch type dishes, things you'd put in a 9 by 13 inch pan. This is what I love for soups, and I do think soups freeze really well. So that's why I have 3 soups just in my little repertoire here. And then this one is great, especially if you're like a family of 2, depending on the size of your family. I actually use this size way more, so I have put the same recipe in both of these, right? This is one soup recipe, just because I didn't have another yellow one. And then these I've kind of mentioned I use for things like berries or small amounts, maybe peppers, onions, whatever I'm freezing like that. And then for like 1 pound of meat, so I can separate it when I come back from Costco and freeze them in these containers. The reason I like these containers so much, one, they're modular, so it saves me a lot of space in my freezer, right? Because I can stack all of these on top of each other, right? And they're all the same size, right? It takes up all that space because they're sized appropriately. So now I can use all the vertical space in my freezer. My freezer's organized, I know where my meals are, and I can use all the space. Okay, so that's one reason I love them. Second reason I kind of mentioned already, which is I can label them with a dry erase marker. And the third reason is they prevent freezer burn, okay? That is the key. They prevent freezer burn. So now I know I'm not going to have to go to my meal in the freezer and find it's been ruined, right? I am ready to go, and I know these will work really well. So, oh, they're also, I forgot to mention, but they also are flexible, okay? The material's a little bit thinner, so things thaw faster, which is great because I recommend thawing before you make your freezer meal. And secondly, the material is a little bit flexible, so you can pop things out easier, so then you could cook it if you were cooking from frozen. So those are some of my freezer meal tips. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.